Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're back with another short tutorial, and by now I'm sure a lot of you have this Robin Tim Drake. It looks great. He did a nice job. However, he did take some liberties as to making his own design. And there's a few little details here that personally, they just don't go well for me. So I had to redo this figure from scratch. I used a lot of the existing parts, and well, you will probably recognize a few of them, but I'll go ahead and mention off a few of those pieces. I ended up using the Project 1 Superman for the main body. I used the torso from a REDHOOD, and of course I used the gloved hands from Blue Beetle. And then finishing it off with, well, a custom head sculpt and a cape. And the sculpts that you see here are just placeholders. At the time I did not have the last head sculpt that I wanted to use. I finally found it, I purchased it, I painted it, and I set it on that torso, and it looks really, really good. It's a big difference from this to what Mcfarlane presented us, and I'll show you toward the end of a comparison side by side. But here at least you get to see the head swaps, and this particular figure lends itself really well to a variety of different sculpts for the Robin that you intend to see. Well, at least your vision of that particular Robin. Yes, an airbrush is going to be essential to make it look really, really clean. And in the end, yes, I did use the paints that I've had in the past, which is the Vallejo Premium. And they are a flexible paint. It is a multi-surface paint, and it works out really well for plastics like this. But let's get started with the actual making of the cape. And I'm not going to go through the whole process because it's pretty much reiterating what I've done in the past. Jumping right into what the cape is made of, which is a yellow cotton that is folded underneath a black pleather. It is sewn on the edge, and then I folded it inside out to then pleat it with the iron or press it, and giving it that nice clean edge. There is a wire on the edge of the cape between the yellow and the black, and then I cut out a little horseshoe collar to then glue on the exterior and then fold it over onto the edge. And that's how I got the collar. As you can see, it is not a collar that is closed. It is actually open, so you can pull it up to the front and give it that closed look. This is the actual project itself. I've repainted, plugged up the back where the cape originally was. You do have to trim down the back if you're going to paint it, because you will have paint rub. Now, attaching the cape is really nothing more than gluing it. If you want to use super glue, you go right ahead. However, super glue dries quickly, and there's no manipulating to be able to position it while it's drying. With the fabric tack glue, it's a lot slower, and you're able to position it, giving you this final look. Glue the back, then one side, and then the other. Tape it down so it holds while it is drying. And the flaring out of that on this cape is actually the wire, but because it's drying, we're not going to touch it. Once it's fully dry, you can manipulate the cape however you like. Now, I did go with an extra long cape, an extra bigger cape, simply because I love the dynamics of larger capes. If you want to cut it down smaller, that's fine. But keep in mind here that we have 2 layers. The more layers you have, the heavier it becomes. If you use this amount of layers and it's a short cape, it's possibly not going to be able to contour itself to the figure. Even the wire will look awkward on it. So you have to take that into account. You may not have to put a wire in it if all you wanted to do is look like a museum pose, a stoic pose. In this case, I wanted a little bit more out of this cape, and that's why I added the wire. Now the next clip shows you the final sculpt that I chose and painted so that I can attach it to this torso. I've now installed the cape. I have not attached the arms, but you can see how it falls down very, very nicely around the actual figure itself. And again, this is a stretch pleather. Now, what is the difference between stretch pleather and standard pleather? Well, it's the term itself. Stretch pleather actually stretches so that you can cut a small hole or a small piece of it and stretch it out. So around the collar, I can literally stretch that collar to meet it in the center and glue it down. If I was not using stretch pleather, I have to be that much more precise with the cuts. Non-stretch pleather is heavier and it's also thicker. This is the custom sculpt that I'm speaking of, and this is what I ended up painting to use on the final figure. You can have the one on the right, which comes straight out of box. Again, it's really nothing bad. It's just not my depiction of Tim Drake. The one on the left, whether it's accurate or not, is much more closer to the depiction of Tim Drake that I have. Plus, it's already parts that were there. Now, a lot of people may say that why didn't Mcfarlane make it this way? Well, it's possibly he didn't have those parts in function or in process of being produced while he made the other, until he made those other molds that we are now seeing repeated use of. Now this, again, is more of what I wanted to see. And yes, once it's complete, it is up for sale. First come, first serve. This channel does not make money by inviting people to donate money. I actually sell product to support this channel. So once this is gone, it's gone, and then I'll just have to make another one. And do I have plans for another? Yes, I do. But you'll have to come back to the channel to see which figure I end up completing. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with some video, and any questions, any comments, go ahead and pop those in that box. Of course, keep it civil, because I will delete the bad comments. Enjoy, and have a good time customizing your figures.